Good morning. Okay, so this is like the third time I'm doing this video today. I don't know why I didn't think of doing it this way sooner. I don't know. I had it facing away from me. Half of me was cut off and whatever. So, yes, I am in my bedroom today because it's cold. It's March 12th. It snowed like 2 days ago. Um, but I want to get started because 2 days ago, I went ahead and I cracked open some moringa seed pods. And I took the seeds and I put them in water. And then I went, now I'm going to have to plant in the next couple of days. I soak my moringa seeds for 48 hours at a minimum. If you're going to do like a pod seed, whether that's some kind of a pod vine, like I have trumpet vines soaking right now, or whether it's like a little tree pod, a lot of them. You want to soak that seed. Trees are fickle. If you're doing a fruit tree, you're going to want to stick it in the fridge for a good 4 months before they pull them out. And I'm actually probably going to be pulling I did some peach trees around October. I'm going to be pulling them out within the next month. I like to plant on the full moons or the solstices usually, so I won't be doing any of my garden plants until this coming up weekend on the 20th. Um, I know it's all those old wives' tales and stuff. Um, well, I believe in them because they work. So, what I'm going to do is just try to give you some pointers on saving some money because, wow, that sunlight, I don't know why it's flickering now. Um, at any rate, so I don't know about you, but I live in a dry climate. I don't live in a wet climate. If you live in a wet climate, you can disregard this part, but those little cardboard style containers that are supposed to be biodegradable, you put the stuff in, the soil in, you put in the seed, you water it, and then you stick it in your garden just as one complete pot, and it'll biodegrade. Not in dry climates. I've never had it happen unless I flooded every single day, and then it was kind of iffy. And the fact is, we don't have that kind of water resource to just be really kind of wasteful. So we have to be careful with that here. So they don't biodegrade here. Sorry. If you're in Arizona, those pots pretty much aren't going to do you any good. They're not going to break down. And for me, they've actually harmed the plant because as that root comes out, that root has nowhere to go now. It's just kind of balling up. And when you're talking about like tomato plants, they have those real thin, yeah, they're going to die. At least that's been my experience. The other thing is seeds. Where do I get my seeds? What the heck? I have gotten seeds over the years from like Amazon, from Burpee, from wait, my brain's just from trades, from all sorts of different catalogs. And I will tell you that I've had a lot of trouble with a lot of seeds. My best seeds purchased came from a guy, M.I. Gardner. Look him up online, M.I. Gardner. And I think it's migardner.com. Every single seed that I have bought from this man, big shout out. Every single seed has been viable, grew into a healthy, beautiful plant. So I recommend him huge. Huge. If you're going to have to buy seeds, you want, and granted, there's only like 25 to 50 seeds in a package. There's not 1,000. But if you want every single seed to grow, because that's kind of what you're buying. I want every seed to grow. And of course, there's disclaimers on all the packages. They may not grow. If you want every single seed to grow, go to him. Good, really good pricing, really good seeds. The plants are magnificent. I had some of the most glorious plants last year that produced like you would not believe. My zucchini, every day, 2 to 3 coming out of there. Of course, we have different watering systems than he has to use, which we'll go over that later in the season. I'm just trying to take you step by step, and we're going to start with the basic. It's March. You're going to want to put those into the ground late May. I'm sorry, late April, May. You want to get them in while it's still kind of cool outside, because by June, y'all know we're going to hit those 100-degree temperatures. So, and yes, that includes northern Arizona. The difference between northern Arizona, besides Flagstaff, we're ignoring Flagstaff. Flagstaff's its own entity. When you're talking about northern Arizona and southern Arizona, the difference is it gets hotter in the valley than it does here. Granted. And the winds here are more often than they are in the valley, believe it or not, but we still get those hellacious winds. So everything that I'm going to do is going to point towards those factors. And June, we all get hot. We don't get to 120 hot here, but we do get to 100, 110 hot here. So we do have those extreme heats. Big thing with the big heat: water, 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 and more water. So everything you're going to do when you get out there getting prepped for your actual planting, when you want to take those plants, take them outside and put them in the ground. If you're not doing raised bed gardening, and I know that's a big thing here, it's just not economically sound for me. If you got the money, raised bed gardening's fantastic. But if you're like me, you're going to be digging holes in the ground. You want to prepare your area for each plant to have its own kind of well around it. So you're going to have a little trench around each one. You're going to have moat. All right. And you're going to fill that up every day. And sometimes in the hottest part of the summer, you're going to be doing it twice a day. So be prepared for that water bill on top of it. But I like saving money everywhere that I can. And I have friends, or neighbors or whatever. I live out rurally and craziness. And we have people come by and go, hey, will you save your water bottles? Will you save your cans? Will you do all these things and so that I can recycle them? And we're like, sure. The problem is that I will save these things. Kevin will save these things. And they never show up again, to take care of business, people. So I end up with, like last year, I ended up with hundreds and hundreds of water bottles. And I kept looking at them going, well, really don't want them to go into a landfill. I don't like throwing stuff into the landfill. We got enough trash as it is, right? And we do use a lot of these. So what can I do? And I realized that this is actually a planter or a flycatcher, however you want to do it. But this is a planter. All we have to do is take a little X-Acto knife. And you know how much those plastic planters can be. When you start going into, your money costs, you got your soil, you got your seed. If you're not trading, and trading is wonderful. I mean, have some friends. But and if you buy a package of seeds, by the way, and say you get 50 of them and you only plant like 10 because you only really want 10 plants, take your seeds to somebody else who's gardening. Let them have it. And if they don't use them all, tell them to pass them along. Or make little seed packages and give them as a gift. It's a great Easter gift, by the way, because they still have enough time to get that seed planted. So whatever seeds you're not using, pass them along, because they're not going to last forever. And then you take the seeds from this year's crop, you dry them, you save them for the next year. Share. So, X-Acto knife. You're gonna need a pair of scissors. I just have these cheaper ones that I do this with. Don't use my fingers! Okay. And then, yeah, I say that to my husband all the time. I catch him with my fingers. I'm ready to go off. At any rate, and then you have a wood burning tool or some kind of a burner. This one's got a round tip on it. I don't use it for anything else, so I don't even know why I bought this, to tell you the truth. It was probably on sale for $1 somewhere because I tend to do that and go, I might use it someday. Guess what? So, all right. So you don't really need to have an X-Acto knife. You do need to have the scissors. The thing is these things are flimsy. They're just not very thick. So trying to just puncture a hole with your scissors tends to be a pain in the butt. So what I do, just a little cut. That allows my scissors just to pop right in there, and I go around the ring, around the label. Easy peasy Japanesey. I save these because later on, and I'll do a tutorial on that, these end up becoming fly traps later. They also can be hot glued together and make cute little tiny planters. You can make designs out of them. There's an Asian guy on YouTube, if you look it up, making plant containers out of water bottles. He'll pop up. It's really cool. But for the most part, these become fly carcass holders. And then you can or you can't. It doesn't matter. I will take this off because I think it's ugly. And why that matters, I don't know. So, here we go. Now, there it is. We just made a tube, right? Now we take the hot iron and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Got some holes in the bottom. All right. I'm going to set this to the side so that I can show you why. Oh, sorry everybody if you're looking at my butt. I know, what butt, right? Okay, so now your drinking containers. We all go through plastic cups when we have parties and stuff, right? So, save them, especially if they're not colored, you know. The bottom cup, it doesn't matter. And as you can see, I recycle these. And, I keep using them. I rinse them out. Who cares if there's still a little bit of dirt in there? Because they're only for planting. So, here we go. We got the smaller in circumference cup. Then I have a bigger one. This is like your solo cup size. But it has to be clear. This has very little decoration on it. So, for the most part, all the sunlight's going to get through there. Because what's going to happen is you take this littler cup. You're going to take this. Once you put soil and the seed in it, pop it in there. And then greenhouse it. And you want this one a little bit bigger than this one. So, cap on there. Stay nice and snug. And that makes a nice, humid, little, beautiful compartment for your seed. Now, I tend to, after I plant, because what you do is you take this and you squish it, and then you gently just kind of hold down and let the plant fall between your fingers. And whatever it brings with it goes with it. And then I gently lift it, and I'll put that part into my hole in the ground where I'm going to put my plant once it's kind of established. All right? So, there's always dirt left behind, right? I take that and I never throw out the bags that I put the soil in, or that I got the soil out of. And I actually kind of add more to it from my compost. So I have this nice soil always. I don't just throw it out. I keep it because at some point in time I'm going to want to plant again. Or I throw it into my compost and help it really become a nice rich soil. And then I bag it up and I use it again. So here's that. Now I'm going to show you this. These are my moringa seeds. I hope you can see them. Alright, I've been soaking them. And what I'm going to do is I have a bag of soil down here. I'm going to fill up my cup, and I'll show it to you here in a second. All right. There it is. All right. Now you want to leave that gap, because then you're going to take your seed, and my pretty little baby is, and you're going to put it right there. All right. And then I'm going to take one more handful, and I'm going to put it on top. All right. And that was basically a handful. I threw a little tiny bit back, but there you go, and you got that gap on the top. All right. Now, stick it in there. You're going to put some water on there, and then you're going to cap it, and you're going to put it in your window. What I do is I have a bay window in the front of my house, which is east, okay? And I get the morning sun there, and then the rest of the day it's kind of shady. When I'm starting my seeds, I always put them at the bay window, so they get that nice morning sun, says good morning, wakey wakey, let's start growing. And then the rest of the day, noon and after, it's shade. And that gives it a nice, this gives it a warm place to live. But it's a nice, gentle grow. Then after those little guys come up and they get their first leaves, I take them to the other side of the house, the western side of the house, where they are going to get the all-day sun. That's when they're really going to get it. And I do this part basically until they get a nice good leafing about them. So they're probably about 3 weeks. Now these moringa seeds, by the way, this is an edible tree. And I will tell you, these will be sprouting within a week or week and a half. And they're fast growers. They love the sun. Arizona people, this is a great plant. And I got these seeds from my friends in Phoenix. So these great, great seeds. And you are going to want to, I've written on this and I put tape on it. You want to label what you're doing if you're going to do more than one plant in a day. Well, you're going to want to label them because you're going to do more than one plant, I'm sure. So that you can identify what's growing there, because some things are going to go a lot faster. Like the trumpet vine that I've got soaking right now, those will take a good 2 weeks before I start seeing anything come up. And they're slow starters. And they're fragile. So I have to treat them with tender gloves. And you're going to find this with the plants that you put in. You're going to be like, I moved it. Why did it just die? Well, some plants are really fickle. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to be breathed on. You just have to be real gentle with them. And I tried to treat all of my plants that way, because I found that's how I killed a lot of my plants, was I just moved them around too vigorously or fiddled with them too much, because I was fascinated. The less fascinated you are with your plant, the more success you're going to have. If you just go water them and leave them alone, they tend to do really, really well. I don't know. They don't like our attention. They're not like a pet. Although, I've been watching way too much YouTube to see that you people are paying way too much for exotic style plants. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So anyway, that's how you do it. And you give it, okay, when you have the cap on, you're going to give it a little spritz of water like every 3 days, every 4 days, okay? Once you take this cap off, once it's growing, take it off. You want it to start adjusting to its environment as quick as possible. You're going to take this off. And you're going to water it every day. Just give it a trinkle or two, just a little splash, but every day. You want that soil to stay moist until you have a decent sized plant growing. And then you back down the water. But you're also going to be giving it a lot more sun too. So you're going to go from every day to every other day the next week to every 3 days the next week. You're just going to slowly cut it down and until you have it at a good water once a week. Then, as it's warm and you have no more chance, no more danger of any frost, go ahead and take it outside. And I recommend taking it outside and letting it adjust for a few days. And I would take it out either in the evening at dusk or early in the morning before the sun's fully risen, for when you first take it out. That way it has that chance. It's not gonna, you're not taking it out in the middle of the afternoon where it's already 80, 90 degrees and it's going, what the crap just happened? You want to take it out when it's still kind of cool, or when it's going to have a full cycle of cool, bringing it into the warmth. And I might have said it, I tend to plant on the full moons or the solstices. Um, I know it's an old wives' tale, but it seems to work for me, so I'm going with it. I'm just sticking my guns there. So, that's it. I wish you the best of luck. And I hope this helps you. I hope it saves you a little bit of money. Don't throw out your drinking cups. Don't throw out the water bottles. They can be used. And happy gardening. I'll let you know the next thing I plant. I'll be here with you and I'll tell you what I'm doing with it and why I'm doing it that way. Have a glorious day. And by the way, summer solstice or spring solstice starts on the 20th. Get prepared. Get ready to start your plants. Now's the time, and you don't want to wait too late. So, mwah! I love you. Good luck, and hope everything pops up green and beautiful.